Hello, fellow makers. So we have a 3D design. We have an object design in Tinkercad, and we've exported the STL. That's a file type that is the first step. Now we need to bring that into a slicer. The slicer that I am using is called PrusaSlicer, and it is made by the Prusa people, and I have a Prusa printer, so it kind of makes sense to use the PrusaSlicer. You could use other slicers. You could use Cura. That's another one that a lot of people use. So I've opened my PrusaSlicer, and now I need to import the file. So I'm going to import STL, and I need to find it. I think it's under downloads. Okay, yeah, it's name tag. There we go. And I'm going to open that. And it brings it in, drops it in the center. You could put it anywhere you want it if you wanted to, and it's there. It's ready. It's saying, "Hey, I've got something here." And now we need to ask the program to slice it. And slice means create all those layers that the printer is going to print. Kind of like what is that? A CAT scan. So first, let's play with the quality. You have adjustments on the quality that you can do. Now, a lot of people don't. I don't take your pick. What do you like? Do you want to go fast? Do you want high quality? Do you want to get thinner layers? Kind of thing. These are the layers, the thickness of a layer, and that's how thin these layers are. We're talking paper or less than paper thick, right? I'll just pick one. Let's go 0.2 for speed. Filament. I'm just listening to PLA, but here's where you add any special kinds of filaments for special settings, because all filaments melt at different temperatures, so the program needs to know that. This is telling me, and I've already set this piece up when I opened this the first time. It says, what printer do you have? So it's doing that. Now, I can change some of the settings on this. Let's look at print settings up here in the middle. So again, layer height, it's talking 0.2 for the first layers. Perimeters, I actually like to go a little bit higher in perimeters than just 2. And I've been told that that makes things stronger by going more perimeters. Solid layers I have not merely messed with on them. I think it knows what it's doing. Infill, you don't need 100% infill to make things strong and work. Actually, I was told that the perimeters are more important than the infill, but you can change that. But again, the more filament you put down, the longer it's going to take, and you should probably investigate all the different patterns of infill and explore why you would do them or why you wouldn't do them. I'm just gonna let's see one that I read, gyroid. Some people love that one. Okay. Skirt and brim, that's like just around the bottom layer of the object, and some people use that to just make sure the filament is coming out of the printer okay, and so they're watching the brim to make sure that that's getting laid down correctly. And then supports, I tend to try and I really haven't printed a lot of stuff with supports, so I try and just let it not design things that need supports. But there's some point in time you're going to have to learn about those. And so it auto generate or support on build plate. So those are that. Filament settings, again, it's got the generic filament, so it's saying it's 1.75, density and cost kind of things. What temperature do you want to print things at, melt things at? What's the right temperature for your filament, and then what's the bed temperature for your filament for adhesion? And I can change these. I can make that 215 and 215. I can make it 220. I can make it 205. Whatever works for your filament. And that's sometimes the things you got to play with, is what's the right temperature for my filament. And then the printer setting should just be based on the general printer that I have, the diameter, the things that it does. So we come back to platter, and we come down to the bottom. So really, you're not going to change a lot in settings. I mean, I like to add up another layer and maybe play with the infill. Usually the biggest things you play with. So now I will look at slice. Slice now does it and creates all the layers, and it says it's going to take 18 minutes to print that little name tag. Yeah, that's the thing of 3D printers. It takes a while to print stuff, and it breaks it down to what's taken the most time, and obviously the solid part. Um, and over here, kind of towards the right, you can walk through the layers. It'll show you what's printing when, kind of thing. It'll and you see it building up, building up, building up. Boom. Then we're done. Okay. And then we've got the slice. Now we actually have to send that file out. Now my printers use SD card to connect to them to do the files to print. So I've got an SD card, and luckily this computer has an SD slot. So I stick that in there. Some don't, and they just have USB, so you might need a USB card reader, kind of like that kind of thing, that you can stick an SD card in there. Okay. And then we want to export down here, export the G code. And where do I want it to go to? And it's going to name it. You can rename it to anything you want. Right now it's going to downloads, or I can make it go to the SD card. And then I click save, and you see right here it says exporting finished. So it took that sliced file, all those layers and all the instructions, and sent it, creates a G code, different kind of file, .g code, and sent it to the slicer, to the SD card. And then I need to eject my drive, successfully unmounted, and obviously I need to grab my SD card and take it to the printer. So that will be next.